Did you get the other one too?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, last couple times like we've gotten up there and there's like this trash in the night.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, was there? Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sorry.
Oh man, they're making us go through the landmine here.
Yeah, not mine.
Scroll under the table. That's mine.
Oh.
Well, that's not. I don't know whose that is, but
Dennis.
there's not really anywhere else to put it.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was somebody else. That's your final pocket. You don't mind if Thank you. Yeah.
You want deadline?
What's that?
You want deadline?
No. Well, I just have to call in and see. I'm going to load it on Get Express. Yeah, Monday.
Wasn't it 40 seconds?
40.
40 seconds flat.
Yeah.
Thanks, Al. So I've been telling you.
I can find it. I can find it. Oh. Okay. Let me know when it's done. I can get it out. I don't. It's been a.
Jim.
Huh? Now? I think someone's about to come in afterwards, yeah, 100%. Yeah. They bring them in quick afterwards, yeah? After McGregor. Perfect. I can't but UFC.
Yeah. Is that available?
Yep.
Look at me, got a front row.
Yeah, I just have a live stream going, so be careful what you say.
I'm always very careful.
Don't say.
And there's a bunch of bags behind you, so.
Yeah. I will be as careful as possible here.
What did he mean?
Connor looked really good, and Cowboy looked really bad.
Fucking mental. Why didn't he try and get out of the clinch when Connor smashing his nose with his shoulder?
And why, when he did get out of the clinch, did he? It's like, do I post one of these videos to Instagram? I don't know.
Why?
Well, the girl I'm trying to date isn't super into MMA.
They gotta be done by then. There's a lot of stuff.
Look at the fall in his bleeding house coup. That stupid tit didn't say that stupid. That's like a Irish UK thing.
Yeah, like a high school.
So,
We had this joke earlier that Sandy's at home with like 20 different screens. It's like, okay, I'm gonna nick some MMA Junkie, then I'm gonna nick some UFC shit. Get some ESPN.
Say again, sorry. Precautionary headaches, yeah.
Fire UFC.
Nate's gonna be Nate. Are you supposed to do vertical or horizontal?
What do you want?
Like an Instagram story.
Why?
Anthony and Matt are tripping me on Twitter.
Yeah, me PC stuff. VIP section. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fucking great. Literally best view ever. A little screen each in front of us.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Never mind. Never mind. I just. Yeah, that's true. Oh, I would. Sorry, I'll find somebody. I'll post it tomorrow. Now wait, because I think we don't want to get the points. Yeah, it's fine. No worries.
incredible that I could post that story. It just doesn't get posted. It's been 45 minutes and that story is just not posted.
Greg.
Yeah.
I wonder if it has lipstick on it. I'll know if it's mine.
It's a rule. Dude, this McGregor finishes in 40 seconds. He's a legend. I do that when I'm on lipstick out with a lot of angry emojis.
Pretty good.
I'm really conflicted as to what to do with this Instagram situation.
It's not like a lot of goals.
No.
See, like, seeing that's fucking important.
done enough of these to know that's not,
No.
not happening.
I have a girlfriend who wanted to fly out here and then drive back with me. Like we were gonna spend the day tomorrow here, and she's like, "Well, I've got a flight at 9:45. Will you be done by 10?" And I was like, "No,
No.
don't even do it."
No. It is the one thing, like, I do find, at least the Vegas and LA cards, like, East Coast cards, you're out at like 4 in the morning.
God, I
I'm
did
a
one.
zombie.
I did the 244. Wait, no, 244, and it was the time change too. So I was like, "Oh my god, this
Yeah.
kills me." And it was the first one I ever done. I was like, "This is ridiculous."
No.
Like I just went straight to the airport.
Well, and I do like them, like, with the New York cards, it's like, you basically don't have to be there until 6
Right.
o'clock. So it's like, alright, well, I can walk around New York. Like, that's, I'm just such a zombie after.
Oh, I
And,
know.
like, I am not someone, like, when I'm tired, I'm tired.
Oh, me too.
Like,
and I get pissed
yeah.
off. Yeah, no, it's the same way. And I get hungry and pissed off.
Yeah. They've done a better job feeding us at the end of these events
Yes.
now. Because it used to be you just come in.
That's true. I wonder if they brought the food back yet.
They have all the sandwiches.
For sandwiches?
They got like 8 options.
It's all sandwich down on pizza.
I didn't see pizza.
Good.
Why didn't they do
Sandwich.
What's that?
Here, stuff on pizza.
Yeah, you guys, they have sandwiches. My followers are talking about the sandwiches now.
It was like a turkey dinner basically. They had cranberry sauce in it. Like, there was a little bit of aioli. Oh, it's a real good sandwich.
What do you think, guys? Should I get a sandwich? Those sandwiches do look good.
I know, I'm not kidding.
Guys, the sandwiches are amazing.
I will go get sandwiches and model them for the people if they really need us.
Will you?
I mean,
You really just want a sandwich for yourself, right?
to be honest, I want popcorn, but I will get
Go
sandwiches.
get it and then model it for the people. You,
I'll
you guys
just
on
hold it in
YouTube, do you
front.
want it? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, go get a sandwich.
I'll get 3 sandwiches.
Okay.
Me get some popcorn.
He's gonna go get a sandwich.
The main question is, can I get out of this?
Somebody said, "Get me a sandwich, woman." That's awesome.
I will.
I'm making the man get the sandwich.
Jim, I will try to get. Yes, I will get popcorn. Sorry.
No, it's all this stuff.
I'm just gonna grab my phone.
Hold tight for sandwiches. It starts whenever somebody gets here. I'm not hot. Don't get excited. The lady talking is photo Amy33 on Twitter.
What did it say? He just like posted it.
Of course, he just inserts himself back into the conversation when he finds these.
One of my friends
Just wait for the sandwiches. They're coming. We don't have an exact time. They don't give us a time. It's whoever. My Twitter is photo Amy33. You may not see my face, but you may see sandwiches. Sandwiches are coming. This is a big room. He has to go all the way to the back and get the sandwiches. I'm hungry. I've been here all night. The press conference is starting right now. Somebody's walking in. Dana's walking in right now. No sandwiches, guys.
All right. The gate was 11.1 million. It's the 4th highest gate in UFC history. The attendance was 19,040. The bonuses went to Dober, Diego,
Sorry.
Kelleher, Olenek, and McGregor. I gave out 5 tonight. I'm feeling very generous tonight. And then the 50-50 raffle was $108,650. Who's got the first question?
Dana, I want to ask you just quickly on medical updates. Macy Barber was obviously clearly hurt. Do you have any initial updates on her?
She was transported, but I don't know what's going on. Elliott was transported with a head and face CT, and obviously Cerrone.
With Macy, I want to ask you real quick. Do you know if there was any pre-existing condition, or what did you make of the doctor coming in? We don't often see a knee check in the middle of a fight like that.
Oh, weird. I know. I don't know, man. That was weird. Where's Hunter at? Did you ever find out what that was about? I want to check her knee. All right.
Fair enough. Just quickly on Cowboys condition. Precautionary, or does it look like he has a broken orbital, or do we know?
I thought he had a broken nose. So, but I don't know. What do I know?
Fair enough. Let's get to the main event. Conor McGregor, obviously an incredible victory for him tonight. What were your thoughts on his performance?
I was blown away. He looked unbelievable. You won't hear another peep out of me about fighting at 170. So, I know that there's always critics and there's always somebody who has an opinion. People are going to say that Cowboy was shot, which is total bullshit. And Conor McGregor came out. He looked fast. He hit hard. He had a game plan, and he finished a real tough kid who came to win.
Obviously, Conor McGregor is great for UFC business, but I wonder, Manny Pacquiao's team has already sent out a poster of him. Floyd Mayweather has just now sent out a poster of, the rematch. And is this going to be good for you, or is this bad for you now that Conor's going to be so much in demand again that now you got to go through all these options and figure out what works?
Was Conor out of demand?
No.
These are great problems to have. I'll deal with them.
Nice. I know you don't typically release numbers, but can you give us an idea of, how this pay-per-view is looking?
Killed it.
Like,
the number that we did on a fucking streaming service is unbelievable. Yeah. Let me tell you what, and I got to say this publicly too, because the job that ESPN did promoting this fight, I have never seen anything like it. You guys have been in the fight business for a long time. I haven't seen anything like this in my life. You couldn't turn on an ESPN channel without knowing the fight was on. One of my friends was showing me today, and I don't know this shit, but there's on your phone, there's like malls that you can go to, right? Like a mall. You can go shopping and buy stuff from all these different stores. To get into the store to buy, you had to get through the Conor McGregor Cowboy fight first and select to buy it or don't buy it or whatever. So I just have to say, the job that they did promoting this fight is second to none. It was amazing.
So coming into this fight, you teased that, hey, if Conor wins, you really like the idea of a lightweight title rematch. But this week, there's been a lot of fan demand, it seems like, for him versus Masvidal. And now that you're saying, hey, you like him at 170 pounds, what do you think makes more sense? A lightweight title fight, or maybe this fight with Masvidal?
Yeah, listen, every time there's somebody out there fun, there's always somebody fun that can match up with Conor, and everybody wants to fight Conor. Everybody's wanted to fight Conor for the last however many years. When you look at what makes sense, right? We're at a place right now where Conor was saying, going into the Khabib fight, he had lots of personal stuff, some stuff self-inflicted. He had injuries. He had all these things going on, and he has been obsessed with getting that rematch because he knows that he wasn't 100% right. And when you look at this for Khabib is 28-0. He's undefeated, right? And you start talking about this kid's legacy. First of all, to go 28-0 in this sport is, I don't care who you fought, it's tough to do, right? Well, this guy's a world champion. And after tonight, and with how Khabib won the first time, and how famous Khabib has become since that first fight, we're looking at Hagler Hearns. We're looking at Ali Foreman, Ali Frazier. This is a massive fight with global appeal. It's the fight that you make. It's the fight that makes sense. It's for the 155-pound title. If Conor and Masvidal fight, neither one of them even have a title. Although Conor does want his BMF title, but he doesn't have a world championship. So Khabib's the fight to make. It's huge for Khabib's legacy too. I mean, if he beat Conor McGregor, then he beats Tony Ferguson, then he beats Conor McGregor again, and I mean, this is how this kid, when he retires, he's 30-something-0, and he's beat all the best.
Last thing for me, Dana, Cowboy, want to get your thoughts on him. I mean, obviously a future UFC Hall of Famer, an all-time great. You said it. People are going to criticize, say, shot, that sort of thing. What do you see for Cowboy moving forward? I mean, would you recommend he only fights at 155? Do you want him to take time off? What would you do?
He fought a 55-pounder tonight. You know what I mean? It's just like, people are going to do it. It's just you can't stop it. This is what people do. Media, fans, whatever. Conor McGregor looked ridiculous tonight. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody. And the way that he went in there, the way that he did it, he looked fast, he looked sharp, he looked strong, and it was all about Conor. Had nothing to do with Cowboy being shot or anything like that. Kev?
Hey, Dana. You know, everybody talks about Conor's physical skills, but do you think what separates him maybe from a lot of guys is his mental ability? And it seems like, you know, he's a good game planner, and he just has that ability to put everything else out of the way and kind of focus on a fight, and it might be the thing that separates him from a lot of guys.
That kid has an incredible fight IQ, and he has the speed, the power, and the ability to back it up and implement.
And during your career, you know, you've seen a lot of guys that, you know, they were tough guys and they lose fights and they don't come back the way, you know, he came back tonight. I mean, a lot of times guys, you know, kind of, they lose it and they're not the same confidence-wise. Is that another thing that you notice in him that makes him different?
Well, the other thing that makes him different is, more importantly than you lose one and you come back, is the time off. Time off is usually never very good for fighters. You stay active, you stay in better shape, your timing is better, all that stuff. And many of you know throughout the years with me talking, I'm a big believer in ring rust. I believe in ring rust. It's real. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen it play out. We didn't see it tonight.
And last thing for me then, you know, I told you I thought a Khabib fight would do $3 million with Conor, right? So I'm in agreement with you, but
I'll bet it does more.
Okay.
Listen, when you said that, I was with you. I'm telling you right now, Khabib versus Conor is the biggest fight in the company's and the sports history, but I think it might rival Conor and Floyd.
So I just throw this out. I mean, he said he would fight in March if that was there. You got 40 seconds. Here's your problem that you have if you wait for Khabib, don't you? Khabib's no guarantee to win, number one.
Right.
And then number two, if Conor fights in March, now you have him sort of on the same path, and then as soon as he wins, he's ready to fight the winner, as opposed to if, let's say, Khabib loses, now you don't know you have a rematch or what you do. Doesn't it make sense to bring him back and maybe put that Masvidal fight on underneath Adesanya, and you have or in front of Adesanya, but you have him fight again, gives you another big fight at the start of the year, and keeps him active. As he only fought 40 seconds, as good as he looked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that make sense that you could do. I gotta see what he wants to do. You know what I mean? I know he wants this fight, and I think he's willing to wait to get it. So we'll see. Listen, do I want Conor to fight 3 more times this year? Sure. You know, do I want to see Masvidal Conor? Sure. But you got to do what makes sense too. And I just really think the Khabib Conor fight is big for both of their legacies and obviously for the sport.
Hi, Dana, to your right.
Hi.
Hey there. So Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, was here tonight. How interested would you be to put that Khabib and Conor fight in Raider Stadium?
That is not what I thought you were going to ask me, but yeah, I think that the Khabib Conor fight, you know, could be done anywhere. It could be done in a stadium somewhere. You know, it could be done in Madison Square Garden, Dallas, Texas Stadium, the O2. I mean, you could do that fight anywhere. So we need to sit down and look at what makes the most sense.
There's been a lot said this week about kind of Conor 2.0, the evolution of Conor McGregor as a professional and as a man. What did you think about his role in the promotion leading up to this fight? He was much more introspective and laid back and not as kinetic as he had been in the past.
Well, I think he was a lot happier. I mean, I told you guys after the first Khabib, when the whole Khabib-Conor press conference was playing out, I was like, man, this is the weirdest thing that I've ever been a part of. And then I told you guys after, this was super dark, man. This was a really dark press conference, and then all that stuff. And if you look at the things that were going on with Conor at that time, and you know, during and after that fight, what I saw this week was a guy who was happy, re-energized, and happy to be here and happy to be back in the octagon. So it was good. It was awesome. I loved it. I like Conor McGregor. I mean, I know you guys, the fans, everybody busts my balls that, you know, about my relationship with Conor, but I did not like this kid. Right? I did not like him.
Last question for me. I want to talk about Holly. So she won tonight. Holly is 36. You talked about perhaps this being her last go. Do you still feel the same based off of what you saw from her tonight?
She looked good tonight. You know, her and Raquel fought to a split decision last time. And Raquel's tough. Raquel punches hard. I mean, look at the fight between her and Amanda Nunes. I mean, that was a war between two tough girls. The problem with Raquel, and I've said this to her a million times, she will not let her hands go. She's got hands. She doesn't let them go. Oh, not to mention the fact that the ref let them clinch for 4 minutes for 3 fucking rounds, and they fought for a minute. That was a problem too. Driving me crazy, man. If you are not doing damage or advancing your position, you split the fighters up and make them actually fight. And I like this guy. I don't want to, you know, bum this guy out and whatever. But he's running around the octagon, you know, like I'm like, what fucking fight is he watching? He's moving around like he's trying to stay out of the way, like there's a fucking war going on or something. And these guys are leaning up against the fence for 4 minutes. Are you shitting me right now? I literally almost got up and walked out of that fight. I was so frustrated. But anyway. I've shit on enough referees in my day. I don't want to. That guy seems like a nice guy, and I'm too old to be fucking doing this shit anymore, tearing these guys apart. He's a nice guy, and I don't mean to whatever, but you saw the fight. You know what I'm talking about.
Dana, there were a lot of great performances tonight. Right over here to your left. Okay.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. So a lot of great performances tonight. Who impressed you the most?
Diego looked really good. You know, that's a big win for him. But a lot of these kids look good. That's why we gave out 5 bonuses, right? How you not going to give Conor a bonus, right? So, and Conor makes $1 zillion. So I had, you know, I felt bad not giving one of these other kids a bonus too. So we gave them all bonuses. But he looked good. I mean, look at Dober. I don't know if you saw if you don't know, now you know. Dober was in there, but, you know, if you look at Dober's record, you know, his opponent was the guy you were looking at. He's 11-2. He's on his way up, and look what he did. That's 2 back-to-back fights for Dober. So he looked damn good and had a good performance and made some money tonight.
How surprised were you with Roxanne Modafferi's performance? We know you liked Macy. Everyone did. She's a great fighter, a young fighter. Were you really surprised, or did you think Roxanne?
No, I wasn't surprised. At the end of the day, you know, when you're climbing the ladder like that, Roxanne is a tough test. We knew that she was going to be a big test for her. And if her knee didn't pop out, you know, maybe it would have been a different fight. Because one of the things about Macy that I love, and I can't remember who she was fighting, but you guys might remember, she got her ass whooped the first round. Went back to the corner, readjusted, you know, and came out and finished her in the second round. So who knows how the fight would have gone if her knee didn't pop out, but these things happen. She's young, she's talented, she's tough, and she'll be back.
I agree. Speaking about Diego Ferreira, I think he's probably due to fight a top 10 opponent soon, and he seems like a guy for real. Do you have any plans for his future that come to mind?
Yeah, yeah, he looked good tonight. So, and like I said, beating Anthony Pettis, and Pettis is ranked number 11 right now. So big win. What you don't want to do when you're that kind of guy is bust too far into the top 10. So we'll figure out what's next for him.
Last one for me. Obviously, it's not a pleasant subject, Alexa Grasso, that fight falling out. You may have seen that she's saying she's going to 25. She's not waiting or fighting you guys like some fighters do and say, no, give me another chance. She's herself said she's going to 25. Are you going to give her a chance there? How do you feel when someone misses like that, but they take it upon themselves to say, I will go up to the next weight division?
Listen, man, I said it the other day, too. We get pissed off when people don't act like professionals and make weight and everything else. Alexa Grasso is one of the sweetest human beings on this planet, and she's a professional, and something must have gone wrong in her camp. I think that if you look at her, she's gained a lot of muscle over the last year, and I'm wondering if that had something to do with her not making weight. But I actually feel bad for her. She's a great kid, and I look forward to seeing her at 25.
And for Claudia, I'm sure you're going to want to give her a quick turnaround.
No, I don't. She wants it. I don't want her to have to cut that weight again. She made weight, and she's a savage. She's terrorized. She wants to fight again and all this other stuff. I'm going to talk to some people and see how long we should wait for her to be able to cut weight again. There's no hurry. There's no hurry.
Awesome.
We're going to do whatever's safe.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Yes. What did you make of the stoppage in the main event? Because there was some consensus online that perhaps Rahoni took a few more shots than were needed.
I thought you were going to say something else. I was going to be like, what? Yeah, that happened. What was the other fight that happened in?
Nazareth talked about Dober.
Huh? Yeah, the Dober fight. He got hit with like 12 unanswered shots. Yeah, the reffing wasn't 100% tonight. I mean, that's a fact. I don't know if the Cerrone stoppage was horrible, though. I don't know if I would say that.
What would you say about it?
At the end of the day, the reality is we're not in there. We're not the refs, and I wish it could be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It's not perfect in football, basketball, or any other sport, and it's never going to be perfect here. And I think that it's probably one of the toughest jobs in all the sports, because everybody's an expert and everybody's a critic and everybody wants to rip you apart after they don't like the way you did it. But as long as nobody gets hurt, I thought the Cerrone stoppage. Never once did I look at the fight and go, they should have stopped that sooner, like I did for the other fight, the Dober fight.
And then, so you're saying that the Khabib-Conor fight, should be next, but that seems to be completely based on the fact that Khabib wins the fight with Tony. If Ferguson wins,
I said that.
What's the plan then if the Ferguson should pull off the upset?
Conor wants that belt back. He's going to fight whoever wins.
It's regardless, so.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Robert Whittaker had to pull out of his bout with Jared Cannonier. There's a lot of rumors online about Darren Till stepping up to take that fight. Is there something you can?
I think so. I think Darren Till hurt his foot or something, didn't he?
Ankle?
Yeah, he hurt his ankle.
Is there any contingency plan for that fight right now? Because Cannonier,
Yeah, we're working on it. Yep, we're working on it.
Okay.
We just had a really big fight tonight. It just ended. We'll get that done, and we'll let you guys know when it's done.
Final one for me. In New York, I asked you about Alexander Gustafsson. You said that you've been in talks, that he is coming back. When we've talked to him, it's kind of like he doesn't want to say too much. So can you give us an update?
He doesn't want to say too much?
Yeah, he's kind of like, I don't know, we'll see what happens. But
yeah, that sounds like Gustafsson.
But can you give us an update? I mean, have you spoken to him about a potential timeline for a comeback?
No, but he wants to come back.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Dana, down here.
Hey,
a minute ago, you were talking about some of the cities that a potential rematch between Conor and Khabib could happen in, right? Conor wants it to happen in Moscow. Is that even possible?
Nope. It ain't happening in Moscow.
Why not?
Why?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's not going to happen in Moscow?
Pay-per-view, maybe? I don't
There's
know.
many, many reasons why it wouldn't happen in Moscow. You know, when I just rattled off the places we could do it, I mean, those are the places that make sense. You're either going to do it in the UK, New York City, Dallas, Texas Stadium, the stadium here, T-Mobile. Those are all the places that make sense. Realistically, Vegas is always the place that makes the most sense when you have a massive fight. Unfortunately, Habib is not a big Vegas fan after what happened to him last time. So, I don't know.
I think we've seen a very different side to Conor this week. Have you seen that, I guess, before, in the lead up to this fight? Because we haven't really seen him for 15 months, and he's come back a very different person. But did you see that before he came back this week?
Yeah, I mean, Conor and I have had a lot of good conversations, and you know, but you never know what's going to happen when Conor shows up and is getting ready for a fight. But he always had told me that he respected Cowboy. He likes Cowboy. Thinks Cowboy's a family man and a good guy, and has always fought all the best in the world, you know, and things like that. So I knew he liked Cowboy and respected him.
It obviously in the run up to the last Khabib Conor fight, things got pretty dark, as well as after the fight. Would you want the tone? I guess to tone it down a little bit in the build up.
I would really like that. Yeah.
How do you do that?
I
Talk
have
to
no
him?
idea. I think that the hard part is when you have two guys who truly hate each other, and these guys hate each other. You're always going to have some emotions, especially the week of. They're both cutting weight, and it goes deeper than that too. The camps hate each other. All the camps hate each other. There's a lot of bad blood there. So, as an organization, we have to do our job to make sure that none of that stuff happens, man. You know?
Yeah. And then obviously, I know you've seen Floyd's Instagram post about doing Mayweather McGregor too.
Yeah.
Brett,
Floyd and I have been talking today too.
what have you guys been talking about?
What do you think we've been talking about? Listen, we're doing something with Floyd. We're doing something with Floyd, and you know, I don't know. It's like you know, tonight's the night of the fight. You got the Khabib fight coming. It's just there's so much going on. But Floyd is in our plans, and we are in Floyd's plans this year, and we'll end up doing something.
Dan, right here in front of you. Do you worry at all about Habib maybe being a little difficult in trying to fight Conor again? He's mentioned multiple times he wants him to win 9, 10 fights in a row. You talk to people around him, it doesn't seem like financial security is a huge issue for him. So
Let me tell you what, everybody talks about how rich Conor is. Habib is rich.
So I mean that's kind of
Habib has that type of money. You know, Habib has that type of money. And when I say that type of money, over $50 million. So, but the reality is Habib has never turned down a fight, ever. Habib doesn't turn down fights. That's just not his style. He hates Conor McGregor, and Conor McGregor hates him. So, anytime you talk about one to the other, those are the type of responses you're going to get.
And to circle back to Macy Barber, I asked you this question in New York about her aspiration of being the youngest champion in UFC history and everything, and you're kind of expressing how you need to matchmake and bring these type of fighters along. She's a -1,000 favorite tonight and ends up losing. Is this kind of what you were referencing in that sense, and maybe not pushing someone too quickly still?
You never know if somebody's knee is going to pop out during a fight. Those are things you can't see coming. It has nothing to do with the matchmaking.
Right. Did you give her a step back though after this, or do you think
Well, you definitely wouldn't. What was Roxanne, 7? You don't give her 6 or 5. So you maybe give her 8 or 9.
Right. And Alexei Olenek, he got a bonus tonight as well. This guy's very unique in MMA. He's the first fighter to win across 4 decades. Starting in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. 2020s. What do you kind of make of him? Fabricio Verdum called him out after and said he'd love to fight him when he returns from suspension. He's an older guy, very unique style. What do you just make of him?
Yeah, no, he's an incredible athlete, man. To do what he's done and still be doing it is very impressive. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that did that, but they're not doing very well. Still hanging out and fighting, and or they're fighting bums, right? To be here doing what he's doing in this organization is tough to do.
Dana, just over here in the front, I'm just wondering, what's going on with, what would your plans be for Justin Gaethje? Obviously, he's right up there in the division as well, and if Conor has the next title shot, does that mean he'll be fighting again in the interim?
You know what? It's a great question. That's a great question, because there's been all this, what about Justin Gaethje stuff? The reality is, me and Justin Gaethje need to sit down and talk face to face and have a meeting. So I'll probably do that in the next few weeks and sit down with him. I like Gaethje. Gaethje's a great kid, and he's a super talented guy, and he and I need to get on the same page.
Because I know Conor wants to be, and I'm not sure what the status is now, but he wants to be like a backup in case something happens with his Khabib-Tony Ferguson fight in April.
I just want to be a backup. He's saying that fight's not going to happen. He has predicted that fight will not happen, and he will slide in and cut weight and do the fight.
Do you take that on board? Is that something you would consider, or?
Yeah. I ain't saying no to that one.
Because I was going to say Gaethje, I suppose he'd be in a position as well where he would love to be in a backup spot to that fight falling out too.
Yeah.
So there could be a couple of guys there. I'm just wondering, you've spoken about how big this Khabib Conor fight rematch would be. How big do you think a Tony Ferguson Conor McGregor fight could be? I mean,
that big. Conor McGregor and this guy right here with the camera is a huge fight.
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
You're right. So if you want Khabib versus Conor, and then would that leave Usman versus Masvidal? Is that what you like in a perfect world?
Guys, me, you, and everybody else knows that's the fight to make. That's the fight. The fight is Masvidal and Usman.
Speaking of Usman, did you catch that his Twitter got hacked tonight?
Yeah.
Do you know what happened there?
Crazy. I mean, she brought it to me and told me, what do you think the first thing I did was when I read that? And she told me his thing got hacked. The first thing I think about this. Think about, did you see the tweets that were going out?
Yeah.
Right? What do you think the first thing I did was? What is that?
What did you say, Kevin?
Call Twitter.
That's probably what I should have done.
Did you text Kobe?
I called Conor. I said, he got hacked. So don't say anything, don't do anything. Usman and Ali are sitting right in front of where Conor comes out and does the thing. Yeah, so the first thing I did was tell Conor that. And he didn't believe it. He doesn't believe he got hacked. But we had no problem, so.
Ali said that the UFC was looking into that. Do you know what the outcome was?
No, we're still looking into it.
Okay.
They put his bank account out there and his PIN code. It's crazy shit. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Horrible.
And then, I mean, have you thought at all about what's next for Cowboy? He's lost 3 in a row now, but obviously all against the very best in that division.
Yeah, he lost to number 1, number 3, and number 4. So, I don't know. I'll talk to him and see what he wants to do. But we all know the answer to that question. He's like the lighter version of Chuck Liddell. It's like this is what the kid does. It's what he loves to do. It's who he is. These are the not so fun part of this job when you have to have these kind of conversations and ask him what he wants to do. But I don't know.
Will you ask him to take like a break or maybe?
Yeah, I'd like
to guys who are not ranked as high. Maybe?
No, that's not what we do here. We don't do that here. So, when the rankings come out on Tuesday, we'll see where he ranks, and that will determine what fights he would fight next. But if you feel like you should fight guys that aren't ranked in the UFC, you probably shouldn't be fighting in the UFC. You should be fighting somewhere else. Because there's plenty of places you can go where you can actually make a lot of money.
Last thing for me, Nate Diaz has tweeted a bunch of things tonight, a bunch of different things tonight. Have you spoken at all with him? Has Hunter spoken at all with his people over the last few weeks?
No.
In a perfect world, do you see him fitting into any of these plans coming up this year?
I don't know. I don't know. Not off the top of my head, no. I don't know what Nate wants to do next.
Thank you.
Over here to your left, Mr. White.
Yep.
Good evening, how are you? Over here.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, how are you doing? First question, you seem to flick of a mention there that it is a possibility that the UK could house a Conor McGregor fight.
100%.
Would that be at Wembley Stadium as we've seen with Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, you could do any of the big venues out there.
The Cardiff Stadium as well, the Millennium Stadium, they both take 80, 90,000.
Yep.
When you go back to the office on a Monday morning, you haven't had Conor McGregor for 15 months. Does it make your job easier? And what I'm asking is he arguably, Conor McGregor, the most complete package we've ever seen in the history of fight sports?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is such a huge superstar. I mean, I put him up there with Tyson, Leonard,
Ali,
all of them. He's got the biggest pay-per-view in pay-per-view history, and he's, how many of the top 10 does he have? I don't even know, but he's one of the biggest stars out there. A lot of times coming up in his career, he's been doubted for his talent, and he proves everybody wrong every time. And I mean, the kid is just such a massive superstar. So does it make my job easier? Yeah, one day out of 365 it does. Yeah. Obviously promoting a Conor McGregor fight is fun. It's whatever, but I wouldn't say it makes my overall job easier now.
Is it fair to say that he's worth probably more than $2 billion to the company if you can keep him fighting for the next couple of years?
$2 billion?
Yes.
Sounds like a good number. I'll take that. I don't know what he's worth to the company, but it's big. Let me put it to you this way. I just thanked ESPN for the promotion that they did, right? You couldn't go anywhere right. What's that number? It's a massive. All the people that come out and watch the fight, the number is always massive. Then Conor comes out and does what he did tonight. You can't put a number on that. It's massive. And it's global. The whole world is watching tonight.
Well, when you say you can't put a number on $1 billion.
No, I just said you can't put a number on it. You can't put, it might be more than $2 billion. Who knows what the number is? It's massive.
Thank you.
That was weird.
Just said it might be more than $2 billion. Thank you.
You guys good? Huh?
Paulo Costa.
Paulo Costa? Yeah. So May, June. So, all right. So he's supposed to be ready, right? That's if nothing goes wrong during the recovery and whatever. Israel Adesanya wants to fight Yoel Romero, okay? Nobody wants to fight Yoel Romero. Nobody does. And he is, you made a face like somebody might want to fight him. What was that face? You gave me the meh. You know somebody that wants to fight? Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to fight him. Believe me, we make the phone calls. Nobody wants to fight Yoel Romero. Israel wants to fight him. Israel has the title. Israel feels that his legacy will not be complete if he doesn't beat Yoel Romero. And people will want to see it. And I promise you it will be a great fight. So we're going to do it. And then we'll do the Costa fight after. And it gives, and what it does is, it doesn't rush Costa. Costa's in this big rush. We're watching his Instagram the other day, and the guy is working out like he's training for a fight right now. Which you shouldn't be doing that when you just got done with surgery. Then they're saying you're not even going to be ready till June, right? You shouldn't be training like that. You know what happens when you do that? You get hurt again. That's what's going to happen. So he needs to pump the...
There's a lot of focus on behavior, and I think casually during it. Do you think his attitude in the lead up to this had more to do with his respect for Cowboy, or as someone who knows him well, do you feel like he's changed significantly over the last 15 months?
I don't know if you can change significantly in 15 months, but what I said earlier, I think he's happy. He didn't seem happy before. He's always pissed off, and there was something wrong leading up to those other fights. There was something wrong with him. Really good things for Conor McGregor and everything else. And Kevin wrote a story the other day saying, guess what? I like Conor McGregor again. You know what I mean? And I bet a lot of people felt that way going into this fight. And I think that, especially in the fight business, people forget easily, quickly, and people are forgiving when you come back and you try to get your life back together and you have this great comeback story. And I think tonight was that story for Conor McGregor. You're always going to have people that won't like you, but I think a lot of people jumped back on the McGregor bandwagon tonight and became fans. Did I get everybody? We good?
Hey, what did Tom Brady think?
What?
What was Tom Brady's opinion?
Oh, now you want to talk about Tom Brady, right? What was he what?
His opinion of the fight.
Oh, how would you not like the fight? I thought, when she asked me the question earlier, I thought you guys were going to ask me, hey, Tom Brady was here, Davis was here, I saw them talking, what's going on? Are you guys fucking Las Vegans or what? Come on, man. If that dude isn't playing for Boston, he's playing here. All right? So, I don't know. I have fucking no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, he liked the fight. What was I gonna? Before Kevin threw that at me, what were we talking about? Did I ask you something? I was gonna tell you something. Kevin ruined the whole thing. I forgot what I was gonna say. But how many members of the media were here for this fight?
I think the final number was 187.
There's 187 members of the media here for this fight. And thank you guys all for your work this week. And it was an incredibly successful event. And you guys are all a big part of that. And I really appreciate it. Have a good night.
Connor's up next?
Yeah, he needs to get his golf cart, isn't it?
Fucking right. I don't even live at the hallway.
All I have is one question. And the question is, what the fuck do you keep walking up and down the cage?
Ollie, congratulations on your win. Effective, maybe not necessarily as exciting as you might have liked for it to have been, but I mean, a win is a win at the end of the day, I guess. So just tell us about the emotions right now that you had a chance to let it sit a little bit.
Well, I always want to do more, and I always want it to be more exciting, and I want to knock out, and I want, to show performance and all that. So obviously, I always look back and wish I could have done this or that. With that being said, she's also one of those really scrappy fighters, and she can kind of make a fight look messy. She can, get into she'll bang with you, she'll be in the clinch with you, she'll go for takedowns. She has her wrestling background. She has, it's not like all of her wins are like by the same thing. She's kind of all over the place. She's kind of a threat everywhere. So, one of the positive things is that we were able to take, her game away and not let her really get off in that. But yes, I wanted to do more. If I can be controlling the clinch, I better be being, kind of more damaging with it. So we'll just have to keep going to the drawing board. Yes, it feels good to win, but I always want more.
I mean, the first fight was kind of a weird one too. I mean, is it like, can you just write this off as, hey, sometimes styles are just going to make for weird fights, or do you kind of, or will you be more critical of yourself in that?
I just feel like I could have done a lot from every situation in this fight. I've learned a lot since our first fight. Our first fight was kind of, a little bit more of just like back and forth, and this fight, yeah, I was able to kind of just control the pace of the fight, but I should have done it in any way I wanted to. I felt comfortable enough to do it anywhere, and I should have done better at that.
I think at the time of your fight, the beverages were probably flowing pretty well in the crowd, and I think they were ready to see Conor McGregor fight for sure. But there were some boos going on. I mean, can you hear that? And does it affect you, like, as you're fighting? I mean, you've had so many great highlights as well, but when you hear that, do you think about it?
I've heard boos. I didn't hear much tonight, but I did hear a couple. But it doesn't.
usually the people booing aren't the ones that actually do this for jobs, so it really doesn't bother me, you know. I don't understand everything that everybody does in their job, so I'm not going to criticize it. And it really doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. They don't have to boo me. Trust me, at the end of the day, I know that I want to go back and be like, you know what, I could have done this better, I could have done that better, I could have done more. I already know what I want to do, and I don't do this job for anybody, I do it for myself, and I try to make the people around me proud of me, and I want to do things like that. I want to make them proud, and I love that I have fans, and I always want to give them the best show I can, but sometimes I fall short of that, and it just keeps me driven to want to move forward and keep getting better.
Last thing for me, you said, listen, you want to get back to the title shot. Do you see a path there? I mean, have you mapped out how the division lies, and can you get it done this year? And are there certain names to get you there? Do you have a journey in mind of how you could get there?
When I say I want a title shot, as whatever path it is to get there, you know, I mean, that's the goal. When I first started MMA, everybody said, what are you doing? And it's like, well, I want to be a champion in both boxing and MMA, and I want to do it. And a lot of people are like, why are you starting a whole new career at 29? You're almost 30. And you think you can go and make this whole new career. Well, I'm still 38 now, and I'm still ready to go. And I know that I'm stronger than the girls in my weight class. I know that I'm in shape, and I know I'm healthy, and I know that I can do more. What I needed to do is let more of my punches and kicks go tonight. With that being said, though, I'm walking away with not taking any damage and still being able to control a fight. So there's some things you can take away that's positive, and some things that I can take away and criticize myself on, and I do both. I like constructive criticism. I like to do better and take what things worked and try and do more to capitalize next.
A rematch, and you said you were kind of looking forward to it, even though you kind of earlier in your career hated the idea of rematches. And of course, if you do fight for the belt again, it's likely Amanda Nunes will be the champion, and that will be another rematch. What can you take away from lessons learned tonight doing this that you could apply to another fight with Amanda, and why would things be different the next time around?
I mean, I think that there's a few things I can take away in the fact that, you know, just tonight we were able to take away Raquel's game plan. She wasn't really able to get off doing anything that she wanted to do. So there's something to say for that. But I know that it would be a totally different fight with Amanda, and I would definitely need to perform better than what I did tonight in order to get that victory. And so that's what I want to do.
Hey Holly, down here. You had an injury, I guess, that forced the fight to this card. Can you talk about what that was?
Mm-hmm. The last week of training for my last fight, I felt something pop in my hamstring, and I thought, well, I went through the whole weekend, or for the next couple of days, I would just like sit on the bag and ground and pound because I couldn't even really like move around on my legs, and I just wanted to see how it felt before I said anything. Because there's every fight camp you have little bumps and bruises by the time you actually get to the fight. You spend weeks going in and beating yourself up, so there's always a little bump or bruise here. And I've only had to pull out of one other fight out of all boxing. Over 50 fights in my career, there's only 2 fights I have ever had to pull out of for an injury. And I don't ever pull out right away until I know for sure if it's something wrong. And we just called and I said, I don't know what it is, there's something wrong with my hamstring, but I just can't fight on it. So they flew me out, they wanted to get an MRI on it and see what was really wrong. And I had torn 30% of the ligament that holds my hamstring. And there's just no way I was going to be able to be explosive off it, kick off it. I mean, it couldn't even bend over to pick something up off the floor, you know, any kind of motion like that. There's just no way I could have fought on it. And it was one of those things like, well, can I fight through it? And pretty much across the board, every doctor I talked to is like, I would say most likely you're gonna just tear the whole thing if you go try to fight on it like that. And then I'm out for how long, you know? So they said if you let it heal, so that's what I did. I let it heal, and I went back and they checked it and made sure that it was 100%. All the fibers had grown back, and at that point even they said they're there, but they're still need to build to be stronger, so start slow with your training camp. And basically the doctor said, yeah, we'll clear you to fight for the 18th, but like no sooner. So as soon as I was able to get in there, I went at it, and during the first part of the training camp, actually I actually took it slow. There's a lot of certain kicks I didn't throw. I started just boxing for a while to take it easy on my hamstring, and as the fight camp went, I ramped it up, and by the end of the camp, I didn't feel anything in it. I was very confident in my hamstring, and it's doing great.
And then I think when the news came out that the fight was going to be rescheduled, people thought that, well, it's obvious that the fight is going to be in Rio Rancho, going to be in Albuquerque. It wasn't. Why? Are you upset that the fight wasn't in your hometown?
Yeah, you know what? I'll take. I just want to take whatever opportunity is there. And we had signed the contract for this fight, and then when the Rio Rancho card got announced, they said we want you to fight Rio Rancho, and Raquel Pennington said that particular time she couldn't make, so they said, okay, well, let's keep it in January. And it's just as simple as that.
Would you like to fight in the UFC in Albuquerque at least once?
You know, if it runs across, then yeah. But if it doesn't, I don't get my heart set on one thing. You know, I want to take whatever opportunity is in front of me. And I'll definitely be there watching though, and I'm super excited to watch everybody on the card. I'm excited that UFC is coming to Albuquerque. You know, I'm very prideful of the city, and they're very, very supportive. So I'll definitely be there for the event.
You'd be able to like turn around and fight on that card.
I mean, I'm feeling great. I'm healthy, so it's really not the worst idea.
Last thing, you mentioned in the cage that there were some other things kind of going on in your life before this fight. I don't mean to pry, but do you want to let us in on any of that stuff?
You know, it was one of those things I really didn't, leading up to the fight, I really didn't want to say anything is going on, because I don't want anybody thinking that, like, I'm making excuses before the fight. Because I feel like life happens in our life, and we have to learn how to balance them. We're fighters, we have to be able to do that. And I mean, I'm open to talking about it. My father had a stroke about 3.5 weeks ago. He's doing great. So that's what we're pumped about. But it's definitely been a balance.
Holly, question for you over here to your left. Right up here. There you go. So if you were to fight in New Mexico, and for your next fight, do you think 45 might be something you prefer? You made the cut again to 35. It's not an easy one. Do you feel like you want to stay at 35, or is 45 something that might interest you?
You know, I feel comfortable going to 35. Yeah, I gotta cut a little more weight to go to 35, but I don't ever get in there and feel gassed out or that I drop too much, or, you know, I think that a lot of people, they cut a lot of weight to make it, and then they feel like they're gassed out. And I feel like, you know, I've had a pretty long career. I don't even know how many fights I've had total, but it's like 55 or 56 or something like that. And, you know, for as many times as I cut weight, I'm 38 years old. I don't feel like I get in there feeling like I got gassed out. I feel fine. So, you know, 135, I feel like if you can make that weight and you feel fine, then it's probably where your home should be. But I'm not against, you know, fighting at 145. I still know that I'm strong enough to fight at 145, and I still feel like I'm a big enough fighter for 45. So it's not that I'm stuck at one or the other, but 135, I feel is maybe more my home, but I'm open.
You are the only world boxing champion who's become a UFC champion. There's a lot of talk from boxers about coming and jumping into this game. Claressa Shields is talking about wanting to come in and test Amanda Nunes. Can you give your opinion on how long it'll take a pure boxer, even at the elite level, to jump in here and be able to handle themselves in it?
I say it takes time. It takes mat time, because even if you learn everything, you can learn every technique there is, but how do you really react when it's live time to do it? And I think that one thing that made it easier for me to transition is that my amateur career was kickboxing. My first boxing fight was my first pro fight. It was one of those things like, nobody really wants to fight right now. We got to fight for you, but it's just going to be boxing. Oh, and it's pro. And I was like, okay. And I used to literally rely on just kicking. If you saw my amateur kickboxing films, I literally just kicked them the whole time. I had no boxing. So I had to like learn this love for boxing. But then going into MMA, I had that background. And my entire boxing career has been out of the same gym. So it's very familiar to me. In between boxing camps, I would kind of kickbox while I sparred sometimes. So I feel like the transition was a little more familiar for me than most people it would be. Because my coaches, I mean, Greg Jackson's worked some of my boxing corner. So I've always been around that. So I feel like the transition maybe was a little bit easier for me. With that being said, Claressa Shields is obviously a champ in like, I think 3 different weight classes. She's 24 and she's done this much already. How do you get there? Is from hard work, determination, belief in yourself, and skill. And so if she's done that, we'll see what happens. But I definitely think that, you know, it's a different game. So it just takes time.
The time, can it be done in 6 months or a year, or would you think more like 2 or 3 years if you had to say?
I would say it takes time. However, I'm one of those that thinks you can do anything. I said I'm going to leave boxing and start a whole new career, and I'm going to be champ, and everybody's like, okay, whatever. And I was able to do that, and I'm still pushing for it. So I'll never say it can't be done. Do I think that it takes a while? I really, truly do.
Last question for me. You're doing well, you look great, but do you have an end date on the career? Have you talked to Coach Jackson or Coach Wink? Any thoughts that you got 2 more in you or 2 more years in you or anything at all?
Yeah, I don't think like that at all. When I was done boxing, I literally was sparring. I had a boxing fight coming up, and I was sparring, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I asked Mr. Winklejohn, can I just talk to you in your office before I leave? And I said, I don't really have a passion to box anymore. I'm just going to finish this fight because I signed the contract, and my motivation is that I don't want to go out on a loss. This is my last boxing fight, and I'm not going back. And that was it. I just felt it. So I do not feel any want to leave this sport right now at all. So I just go fight by fight. Right now, I love this sport. I still want to do it, especially after a night like tonight. You have the taste of the win, but you could have done so much more. Of course, I want to get back in there.
Excellent. Congratulations on the great win.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm glad that's the lead quote. I'm glad that's the lead quote in my story that I didn't bother to fact check.
Jared Kennedy.
Apparently Connor is not the first person to have forces.
Jared Kennedy.
What? Oh.
Well, that's great. I apologize.
No, there's really not.
Not really. You're going to cause damage to yourself or someone else no matter what.
In the UFC though, or in?
I don't know.
Connor, congratulations on your victory this evening.
Thank you, so appreciate that.
40 seconds. I don't think a lot of people saw that one coming. You obviously came out very, very quickly. So, did you envision a scenario in which you got this thing done that quick?
I did come out and I let that left hand go from the chamber. The force of him dipping and me connecting with him with my hip even was a shot in itself. But I'd probably put that down to 15 months outside of the octagon. You know what I mean? A little bit overstepping the shot. And I knew Donald, and I know Donald's good at dipping under the left hand, and I knew he would, and he would attempt to dip under the left hand. He's done it to the former champion in the 170 division, Robbie Lawler. He dipped under the left hand multiple times and secured takedowns. He dipped it under the now middleweight Dan Till. So 15 months outside the octagon, a little eager, take from it all and carry on.
The shoulder strikes were incredibly effective. Was that something that you drilled? Was that a little bit of improvisation? What was that?
They'll have to say now, the way they say, I've just got a left hand. They'll have to say, I've just got a left shoulder as well. A left hand and a left shoulder. The so-called experts of the game, when they'd be breaking down my skill set, they'd be saying, I'm just a fighter with a left hand, which is highly disrespectful and uneducated. I'm surprised so many of the supposedly knowledgeable people to be just claiming it as that. So it's a good shot in the clinch. You can really catch a man. So I knew I caught him with the first one off guard, then I caught one or two more, and when we separated, the nose and the eye was bust. It's a good shot. I've utilised that many times in the gym, and happy with it.
You ultimately finished him with punches, but the high kick was a big part of the finish. I'm curious, I mean, obviously that's kind of his signature move in a lot of ways. I mean, was that something you wanted to execute, or?
Yeah, no, of course. I knew Donald has the most head kick knockouts in UFC history. I was saying to Megan backstage, that's the equivalent of a world title to me, to having a record like that, the most head kick knockouts. So, but at the same time, and I knew he was planning to knock me out with a head kick. I knew he wanted everyone, oh, what if Donald catches the head kick and all this. I knew this was what Donald would have been envisioning and his team. They would have been practicing how to set me up with the high kicks. But at the same time, I noticed Donald has many discrepancies in leans and dips and under certain attacks that can also set him up for the high kick. So the high kick was something I thought I could catch him with also.
His grandmother came in and spoke with you. I'm curious if you could share the details of that conversation.
She's just a phenomenal woman, that lady. She's there from the first fight of the night till the final fight of the night, and even after the bout came over, and she just showed me respect, and I showed her respect, and it was great to finally meet her. You know what I mean? You see her; she's a prevalent part of the game, isn't she? Right? When Donald's fought so much, and that lady's there from the start of the night to the finish, man. What a lady, and what a man she's raising. Very, very, very honoured to share the cage with Donald, and very proud. You know, he's a good man, and he's got good people behind him, and much respect.
Lastly, for me, Conor, we had a chance to speak with Dana already. I know there's a lot of options on the table, but he seems to think lightweight title shot is the best move for you going forward. Now, you've come out and said, at least I guess to him and to publicly, that fight is not going to happen between Khabib and Tony. I'm curious, what kind of deadline do you, because you'd certainly be in line for the winner, but if you could slide in, that would be pretty impressive. But is there like a deadline?
No, I don't think the who matters, right? I think, okay, the lightweight title will be there, right? That will be there, you know. You see the difference in the physique, the preparation, and that, and that will come back around that shot. So I'm certainly not gonna, if this fight does go ahead, sit down and wait for it through holidays and injuries and all this type of thing that goes with it. So the who doesn't matter for me now. It's just I'm looking at dates now, and I know March was there, and I'm gonna have a look at the calendar and see where we're at. And Lorenzo gets back in from Panama on Tuesday, so I'll toast a fine Irish whiskey with Lorenzo. I always look to do that, you know, tradition. I was talking with Dana, so he gets back on Tuesday to Vegas, so I'll stay here and I'll go for dinner and a toast with Lorenzo and Dana, and I'm sure we'll chat about it then and see what's what. So I'll be ready. You know, I'll have a celebration tonight. I'll chill with my kids tomorrow. I'll show Junior the fight on the telly, see how he reacts to it, see what he thinks of it, and then back to training. You know, when you take, before a fight, you taper off for the final 2 weeks. So if you get a quick win and then you kind of go off, then all of a sudden it can be 4 weeks without a full training. You know what I mean? Without a real training session, and then you slip behind again. So I'm gonna make sure not to do that and get a good session in the day after tomorrow and carry on.
Congrats, Conor, on your victory. Very
Thank you,
impressive.
sir. Thank you.
Just kind of curious why you let yourself get in that before, where you didn't do those things that you're just talking about you did now. What was it that put you in the bad spot?
I achieved it all, right? I broke the game before I was 30 years of age. Simple as one belt became not enough. One belt's almost not even enough anymore. You got to get the two to even start questioning, or start earning a big style. So maybe that I achieved it all. John always says the worst. My coach says it's the worst nightmare for a coach if his student achieves it all. The money, the fame, the belts, all of this. What then to motivate me? So I probably had to go through that and then just come back for the love. Like I got into it in the first place for the love. So and everything's a learning curve, and you learn what's right and what's wrong. You know what I mean? So
Did you ever have a point like after the Habib fight where you just were sitting there thinking about what you did and thought, you know, I made a mistake here, I made a mistake here, because you still have achieved everything, right? But you went into this fight and performed. So obviously something changed from your preparation in the Habib fight to this.
Yeah, just my commitment, you know. I wasn't committed, and for me, it was just a disrespect to the people that believe in me. So if I'm forming a team and I'm building, like, look, it feels like the world lights up when I make the walk, right? Everyone's so invested in it and excited by it. And then I've got the team of people that are behind me and putting their all and taking time away from their family and their people to come help me. And then I'm not committed with it, you know. So I'll go training and then I'll go missing for 3 days and then I'll come back and it's sporadic and it's on my call and I'll ring and say, hey, we're in the gym now in the next half an hour, make sure everyone's there. I just felt like I disrespected the people that believed in me and supported me, and that's what led me to recenter myself and get back to where I was at.
I wonder if you feel like you can turn that Habib fight into a fight like this, where I know you want to win the fight, but will it get nasty, or will it be a fight where you're able to do what you did here and people really, it seemed like they fell back in love with you like they had done several years ago?
You know, it's got very personal with that man and his team, and look, it is what it is. I make no promises. Then I am who I am, and it is what it is. So I'll certainly be focused on the skill sets. You know what I mean? We have a particular skill set, myself and that man. You know, he holds onto the legs, and I come for it. So you know, I'll be excited to get that one back. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the Tony fight. Tony's another interesting foe for me. See what happens. If something happens, I'll be here.
Won 28 in a row. I think Tony's won 16 or 17 in a row. Do you think Habib is a lot to win that, or do you see a way Tony could win that fight?
You know, a fight's a fight. Tony's hittable, but he's awkward and he's rangy and he's, you know what I mean? So anything can happen. Let's see what happens.
And then finally, how did things change if you have to make a weight cut? So in this fight, you didn't have to do that. You go into this fight, you're strong, you do that. Do you have to test in maybe training camp?
Oh, no, I won't test. I've done it before. I'm Mr. Weight Class. You know what I mean? I've gone through all the divisions, right? I've gone through 3 divisions now. So, it's just about commitment. That's it. Just commit and just do what you know you need to do. And that's it. So, tonight's my night, but I'm no different than, you know what I mean? All I did was just put in the work, and that's it. So, if each one of us put in the work that we know we should do, we know what the work is we need to do. It's just sometimes you don't do it, you know. And then you know when you say, okay, I got to do this, and you know you got to do it, and then you don't do it. That's like a defeat, and then those add up, and then your lack of interest to go do it actually wanes, and then you can get injured and all this type of thing. So, for me, it's just about recognizing what needs to be done and do it strictly and do it. And that for me leads me to enjoy it more. And that's basically what happened this camp. So I could have made 155 this week. I ate up to 170. I ate up to 170. So I'd say I could have been about 169 in there on the night. And I'd say Donald had a bit to cut this fight for this camp. He was in the sauna since Wednesday. So I wouldn't be surprised if Donald was about 180 plus in there. So, but I tell you what, I felt energetic. I felt good and happy days. So. But I've experienced it all. I've experienced near blackouts. For the Mendez weight cut, I had no nutritionist, no nothing. And I done it all myself, and it was a heavy weight cut. And then for the Aldo one, I done it correctly, and I felt okay. I had a nutritionist on board, and I felt good at 145, and I've obviously had amazing success down there. And then the 155, and then it's just about commitment. That's it. You put in the work, you'll reap the rewards. There's no secret sauce to this. Recognize what you need to do and fucking do it, and you will succeed.
Hi Conor, straight in front of you to your left. I asked Dana about the possibility of you fighting Habib in Moscow, and he's very against the idea. Can you explain to me why that's so appealing?
Why was he against it?
Pay-per-view, brother.
Come on now, how much money is enough money? How much money is enough money, for fuck's sake? There's a lot of money in Russia. There's a lot of revenue in Russia. I love Russia. I love the Russian people. I went to Moscow recently, and they're such a great nation. They're so passionate about the sport of mixed martial arts. They're so passionate about myself, and they support me greatly. They support proper 12 Irish whiskey. They know a good liquid. They know a good spirit. So they're good spirited people. And what a place! It would be like something out of a Rocky movie. You know what I mean? So I'd be very eager to do that. They ain't a hometown Vegas boy. I know the Vegas people will be campaigning for it. Look, let's see what happens. I would love that. I want to create spectacles for the people. You know, that's one hell of a spectacle. Even me going out there in Moscow that time, the place shut down. The world took notice. You know what I mean? Your mom was saying I wasn't allowed out there. I wasn't supposed to be out there. They were running the streets screaming my name. So I'm more Russian than that man. So I would love to go to Moscow and compete there. You know.
Dana didn't like Moscow, but he liked the sound of stadium shows, potentially in the UK, maybe even the new Raiders stadium. No?
Oh, here?
Yeah, when
It's happening in Ireland. It's not happening in the UK. I love the UK greatly also, but it's not happening in the UK. If there's a stadium show earmarked for me in Europe, bring that motherfucker to Ireland. I'm asking that since the beginning. What did I say? I'm gonna go backstage with Mr. Lorenzo Fertitta, toast whiskey and talk football stadiums. So I'd be more than excited about that if we could do it. I'd love to compete in Ireland as well. I'd love to compete in my hometown. Do you know what I mean? How amazing would that be also? I'm gonna have a sit down. I know that what's it called? The Allegiant Stadium. It looks phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. It does. I would love to be the first combatant to compete in there. So that's definitely on the radar, and it's so easily done. But I would love to bring it home also.
Just one last one. Have you seen Floyd's post since the fight?
Yeah, you forgot McGregor Sports and Entertainment on the poster. You know what I mean? That right there cuts him out. So it's me and Manny. Look, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. El Floyd, he's a funny man, El Floyd. So we'll see what happens. The discussions are always ongoing. They never stop, you know. You know, Floyd and going through money fast. So he's far from retired. And that rematch will happen at some stage.
But mixing MMA and boxing, I'd imagine that's a bit more difficult than having maybe a clear run at just MMA for maybe a year. Well, what is the plan there? Maybe just stick to MMA for this year?
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Look, I spent so much time in my boxing gym. I went back to my roots, Crumlin boxing, where I began. And what happens tonight? I smack him with my shoulder and smack him with my foot. I was almost gonna say to Joe, that's Crumlin boxing 101. Smack him with the shoulder. But no, I've been getting great training in with the team back home, and I'm an experienced fighter, right? I've been through it all. I've been up and down in the weights. I've been across sports, so I can do it all as long as I'm fit. And we'll see what presents itself.
Connor, you made it a point to stay sober throughout this camp. You reiterated that many times. How does it feel to be reconnected with your old friend there?
My belly is warm. What can I say? But don't get me wrong. That's one of the things I love about whiskey. You've got to respect it. You've got to respect that liquid, because if you don't, it will come and get you. So I done a good stint off of it. It was not easy, but you know, the people deserved it. You know, I made a promise to the people, to my fans, to my team, that I would abstain. That's a baby of mine. I've got Connor Jr., I've got Kriya, and I've got Proper 12. It's one of my children. Seriously. So it was not easy, but I stuck with it. It's great to get a little sip on the tongue now tonight, and I'll enjoy it with the fans tonight, and then respect it after that. You know, I've learned the lesson. I'll tell you what, once or twice.
That was Donald Cerrone's 34th UFC fight, which is the most in history. It's the first time he's never landed a strike in a fight. What does that mean to you to kind of be the person who made that happen?
The records that man has, give him some sort of belt. Seriously, that, you know, you give belts out and this, that, the other. They're even creating them now at this stage. What a phenomenal legacy Donald has, and it's an honor to share the octagon with that man. Seriously, I mean that. I've shared the octagon with some great UFC fighters, and Donald is up there with the best of them all. So I'm very, very proud to share the octagon with him. And phenomenal records. I can only hope and dream to achieve the records he has. The amount of 34 fights. That's my 12th fight. So he's what, 3 times more fights than me inside that. He fought 11 times in the last year, and I'd only fought 11 times in the UFC period. So it's just breathtaking what the man's be at, and I'm happy that it was clean enough. You know what I mean? I thought if it went down, and Donald falls into shots sometimes, and I knew if he fell into it, I was almost anticipating having Herb stop the fight. I was almost anticipating if we go on here and he falls into a shot and I catch him with a backhand shot or a lead hook shot as he's coming in, and he goes down, I'm not going to follow him down. I'd have Herbs try and step in. Do you know what I mean? That was kind of what I was thinking on the way in. So I'm happy the way it ended. There was a couple of shoulder smacks. The foot clattered him in the head and shocked him, and then the backhand put him down, and he'll recover. He'll recover and he'll go again. So I'm happy with that. I'm excited to see what he does. You know. So.
And you mentioned records. One of the first things off the tip of your tongue when you won was, you know, the record about getting knockouts at featherweight, lightweight, welterweight.
That's a phenomenal record. If I do say so myself, I wanted that one. You know what I mean? Like I said, they strip fighters and then they makeshift belts. They give fighters makeshift belts against like unranked opponents. You know, all this type of stuff. And then it's like to replicate. When I won that champs, when I became champ, right, they didn't even have the second belt for me. They didn't want to have the second belt for me. Then all of a sudden they're stripping fighters and making easy enough matchups and almost creating it again after me. I'm like, what the fuck, man? These guys, they'll wipe you off the map like that. So I'm happy I got another. I etched myself in history again. With I don't think that can be. I don't think that's a record that can be achieved handily again, you know, across 3 weight divisions, and so I'm happy with it.
And you also mentioned, you know, making up.
They won't get rid of me, I tell you.
You mentioned, you know, the making fake belts and stuff up to Jorge Masvidal was cage side, and he was wearing a very familiar looking outfit that I think you kind of made famous once. What did you make of that?
I talk about baloney. If you ask me, that was ridiculous. I didn't know what was going on there. Like I said, the old ladies in Ireland, they wear house coats watching the soap operas. So I'm like, what's this guy sitting there? I'm like, I don't know, whatever, all the best.
Fight interest you at all?
Yeah, of course. Let's see what happens. I'd like to scoop up that. That's not a great belt, is it? But I'll still take it. Add it to the list, you know? So, wasn't a good night for Jorge, if you ask me. But all the best to him. God loves a trier.
Last thing for me, Nate Diaz tweeted out right after the fight.
He has his own little thing and all that. It's a mad scene. I don't know what to be going.
Nate Diaz tweeted out right after the fight, calling it weak as fuck. I don't know if that was in reference to Donald's performance or just the fight in general. You know, what's your response to that, and is he anywhere on your list of potential opponents?
Let's go, Nathan. Let's go, brother. Number 3. It's always here. So, we're right here, Nathan.
Hey, Connor, down here. I think Jorge was trying to wear it was the same robe that you wore at the Maymac workouts in Vegas at the PI. It's like the same. I think that's what he was trying to. If you look at it, it's like a Versace robe.
I know what it is. Why? So I don't know either. So I'm just whatever. I don't know.
Dana was in here earlier. I guess Kamaru Usman had his Twitter hacked, and some of the hacked tweets were to you. They were profane.
I'd be skeptical of that. Skeptical of that, because one came through early, and it had all the hallmarks of that little fucking weasel, Ali. Just a right. They give him control of the accounts. He had Frankie's account. He had Henry's account. This has been going on a while. He gets it and then writes something through their thing. And I've been in discussions with some of these athletes, right, to come on board and whatever, and help them out and that. I know exactly what had happened, and then the way the first one was written, I knew exactly where it came from. And then all of a sudden, a little bit heavier ones, and then it became a hack job. So, whatever. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what's going on tonight. It's a bit of a weird night, wasn't it? The two boys doing mad stuff. I don't know, man. Whatever. All the best to them.
So you think it could have been Usman's win? I don't know.
No, I don't think it was Usman. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care, man. I actually don't care. It just had all the hallmarks of your man that's done it in the past multiple times. So that's why, because Dana, I didn't even see it originally, right? No, I saw one originally, and Dana then sent a message to send to me. Oh, this is happening. I was like, I don't think, and then but I didn't see any of the rest of them. I just saw the first one, and the first one had all the hallmarks of your man logging in and doing his thing like he's done with all his other clients that he represents. It's happened. This is happening since years. Like I'm talking to, like even with the other crowd. Like I've been dealing with this a long time, so I know exactly what the sus is. But whatever.
I mean, do you think that with Usman and Masvidal, they're obviously trying to fight you? Obviously, that's what the message is behind all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah, of course. Let's do it then. Let's do it. I'm more than ready. I enjoy this division. I like this division. I don't think they're that big. They're a bit bigger, right? Okay. I think Donald's bigger than Jorge. I know Jorge has a win over Donald, but I think Donald's as big. Now Jorge's a former lightweight, so I don't know what that Dana was saying. I'd like to see them on the scales right now tonight and see what they're at. And I don't think they're at. At the end of the day, we got to weigh 170. I feel good at 170. I don't think your man Usman, he's small enough, 5'8" or something. I think he's small. So I'm more than ready for that division. I'm here at this division. I hold a nice win in this division now. A couple of nice wins. So we'll see what happens. I'm open. Thank you guys. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Connor, if we did 40 each, the Irish, yeah, thanks.